We record all our meetings so people can make them up online.
Oh, you didn't record last week's?
Well, that's because we didn't have the camera.
We've got a makeup guy over there.
I didn't have this. The pressure.
We good? All right. Thank you, Tom. This morning we have Miss Katelynn Dodge and Karen Lloyd from Mathews High School is going to talk to us about some exciting scholarship opportunities, some other great stuff going on at the high school for our kids. So thank you, ladies, for coming in, and the floor is yours.
So this is Katelynn Dodge, and Katelynn is our, she's our head guidance counselor of Mathews High School. And I've got a bunch of handouts I'm going to be bringing around to you so that we can talk to you guys about some changes that are coming down from the Department of Education about graduation and what the new graduate looks like, and some things that we are hoping maybe you guys can plug in and help us with. So.
All right, so yes, the state is changing our graduation requirements again, but I actually like these changes this time around because they're starting to really focus more on how a student learns in many different ways as opposed to just sitting in a classroom and taking a test, which we've had for many, many years. Some of the requirements that are changing are lowering the end of course tests that they have to take to pass. They have a certain amount of tests that they have to pass to graduate, and they are lowering those test requirements, which is good because a lot of times we find that it's difficult for some students to take a test. It's hard for them to pass, and it really can limit what they can do in the classroom. You know, there's not as many projects, there's not as much, I would say, you know, like fun in the classroom and learning in a variety of different ways because our teachers are so pushed to get this information to them that a lot of times the classroom isn't as fun as it used to be. So some of the requirements that are coming down, some of the changes, is to really make the student a more well-rounded person. So one thing that they're focusing on is turning, like I said, kind of lowering some of the testing requirements for the students, but they're looking at a profile of a Virginia graduate, and that's this sheet. You can follow along with me, this one right here with that little box in the bottom. So they're looking at what they call 5 C's. They're looking at critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, communication, and citizenship. So these are the 5 things that they really want us to start pushing with students, which these are things we've always wanted to push with our students and get them involved in. But with certain requirements that we have, it's a little bit harder to do that. So it's nice to see that they're focusing on these types of things and that we're gonna start, you know, putting in different initiatives and different activities to really get these kids involved in these 5 C's. And one of the things that we're here to talk about, some opportunities that we would like to get our students. They're not necessarily going to be requirements, but it's important stuff that the students need to be involved in. And that's talking about things like internships, cooperative education, mentorships, apprenticeships, and that type of stuff. Which 4 are, and if you have one of the course description guides, yes, on page, what is it, I think 25? Those are the lists, and a lot of what we can do with these internships is through our career and technical education program. So that page goes through all the classes that we offer in our CTE program. And we do have some classes that are already involved in apprenticeships and cooperative education. We have some clinical work. So we have like a dual enrollment nursing program. They do clinicals at one of the local nursing homes. Our auto and our carpentry classes have some students that are co-oping, which means they go out and work with someone in that field. They get paid, they get credit for it, high school credit for it. So we want to build up our program and offer more things like that. We do have a local business that we're working with. It's not necessarily tied to a class, but they're offering it's machine tools. They offer an internship to students that we advertise for. So we've had some students do things like that. But we really want to start providing these opportunities for our students and involve our local businesses. You know, really amp up with the business classes and with our technical classes. So we've already got, like I said, with the carpentry, auto, nursing, and that kind of thing. We want to involve more of our courses. So that's what we're looking at now, and we're looking to kind of hone in on what we want to do. There are a lot of different opportunities for these types of things. You've got internships, cooperative education, apprenticeships, mentorships, job shadowing. So there's a variety of things that we can do, and we're gonna form a committee to try and see kind of which routes we want to go. Because also when you're getting involved in these things for the local businesses, we don't wanna overwhelm them with paperwork and that type of stuff. So we're trying to figure out, you know, what routes we really wanna go with it.
Yeah, but basically what we're looking for is a good balance.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do, is we want to find something that works for local employers as well as works for the students in regards to things that they need for graduation. Like Ms. Dodge said, if you look on this particular page this page right here, this, like she said, it's all life skills. That's what they're moving away from testing, is what we're seeing, and moving more into, flip over on this, on the one that has the little, on this one. This is a chart. These are workplace readiness skills. These are things that employers have identified that are very critical, they're needed, and students are coming out of our educational institutions without these skills. And so these are we call it, it's called CTE, Career Technical Education. So that when we say CTE, that's what we're referring to. And those are all the courses that students could take to explore, what is it I want to do? Do I want to be into childcare? Do I want to go into accounting? Do I want to be in carpentry? And so if you look over on page 25 and 26 in your course, and we gave out all the ones we had. I'm sorry, so Mr. Pratt, thank you very much. You're such a sweetheart. Okay, so if you flip over to page 25 and 26, this is a beautiful chart, and it shows the course flow of the different classes that we currently offer at Mathews High School. And for being such a small school, we do a great job.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have
I'm
a
sorry,
wide
we really
variety of
do. I mean, unfortunately, I think our CTE teachers are overworked. That's my personal opinion, because we have so many preps. But hey, that's just me. But if you notice on here, like automotive or like carpentry, you see that there's carpentry 1. You see the sequence and how it basically flows. And like she said, we currently have got a working option in the building trades one, but we don't have one in the other sectors. And that's what we're looking to try to figure out. What is it that works for you guys, what works for the students, and how would you plug in to this chart? Like she said, we have this thing called a CTE Advisory Council. We meet 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 times a year. And one of the reasons that we're here before you today is we're encouraging people to join the CTE Advisory Council. That council is a marriage between educators, administration. We have student representation on there. I know the last time that we met, which was February 13th, we talked about getting parents involved in the council, because we want to hear from, and businesses. We want as many businesses represented as possible sitting on, because the focus of that council is to ensure the classes we are offering at Mathews High School meets the needs of the businesses in the local area. So we've got, right now I know Canon is represented on that, Machine Tools is represented on that. Do we still have our mechanic?
I think we do.
And we just lost the engineering one, I think, because Walt's been having some issues, I think. But I mean, he hasn't been to the last couple of meetings. In other words, we're looking for industry representation. So if you represent an industry and you want to belong to this council, please, we encourage you to join us. Just reach out to Katelynn or reach out to myself, and we'll get you the information. And you show up, give us your contact information, and you'll go on our listserv, and we'll start nagging you to come to the meetings. There's about 4 of them in a given year. And like she said, one of the things that we're trying to do is do an ad hoc committee to address, if you look at this handout right here, which of these is it going to be, what are we going to do to get these kids ready for life skills? Are we going to do job shadowing? Are we going to do mentorships, service learning, interns? This is all the options that we have to select from. And we want to sit down and have that conversation with the parents and the students and the business leaders. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions for us at this point? Yes, sir.
I've been looking at this very quickly. Are you missing an opportunity maybe that you should be starting to capitalize on, particularly since we live in the water and some of our industry has been based upon livelihood off of the bay?
By all means, we want them.
I would suggest that you take a strong look at the new project that's going to be occurring
No, no, sir.
I'm
You did
trying to
not.
think, because we do,
We have oyster gardening, we have the whole world about to open up in Mathews.
If you have a writing utensil on one of your handouts, I don't care which one, write this down. Write down CTE Versio. Write that down. CTE Versio. CTE Versio. Versio is spelled VERSO. When you leave here today, you can go Google that CTE Versio, and it will take you to a list of all the courses that are available in the Commonwealth of Virginia for students. Not just because it's like you were just saying, sir, that particular industry, maybe we don't have a course here at Mathews High School. But what if is there something out there in the Department of Education that course already exists and we need to be offering it? So when we go to offer new courses, we have to survey the students, because there's got to be an interest from the students. We have to survey the businesses to determine there is an interest from the businesses, and then we have to put together the package and we have to submit it, and that has to be done in.
well, it can really be done all throughout the school year, but it would have to be, I would say, sometime in the winter, just to have everything ready for when we look for the interest from the students in the springtime.
So it's not out of the realm of possibilities. We just need to see so when you were talking, what I was kind of turning my brain cells on was, I wonder if there was a course that would meet that need. But that CTE Versio, that's where you would go to see what courses are out there if you wanted to, to take a look at it yourself. But that's something I certainly would be looking at. Do you have any other questions? Yes. Yes.
Can a student fail at Mathews High School?
What do you mean? Like,
Fail.
well, yes, they can, but we try to put forth every opportunity for them to not. So, we don't just put them in a class and let them have at it. If we find that students are not doing well, which is actually kind of what we're in that stage right now, especially with our seniors, students that are failing, we look at other opportunities for them to either maybe recover some credit from the first semester, some things they can work on throughout this semester to keep them from failing. But we try and put forth every opportunity to help them, but also still hold them accountable for the work that they need to do. So I mean, yes, it is possible, but we try and get, because I mean, our graduation rate is in the 90s. I don't think it's really been below like 95%. We do have those students every once in a while that decide to, once they hit 18, they decide to drop out or not come back or not finish their work. But we work really hard to give them every opportunity to complete their coursework and make sure that they're getting their high school diploma, because really in this world you definitely have to have your high school diploma to make a somewhat of a decent living, and we try and push more education past high school, and that's kind of what we look at. And that's kind of why these changes are coming down about the graduation requirements, because they know that there's a lot of opportunity out there for someone with a high school diploma, or if they go on to do just a couple more years or go into like a technical program or that kind of thing, like especially with technology. I mean, a lot of times you don't have to have a 4-year degree or beyond. You can do an associate's degree in that, or a technical school or that type of thing. So these requirements are really looking at all students and every opportunity that a student can have. And that there's a lot more out there than just what a 4-year degree or a master's degree or what have you can give you. And that's why we want to start thinking of these internship opportunities and different learning opportunities, so that they can start getting ready for the workforce and that they're going out into the world with some skills. Because with so many testing requirements, these kids are just pushed to test. They're pushed to remember the information, take the test, pass it, and then they kind of lose it. So having these types of opportunities, they can use those skills that they're using and that they're learning in the classroom and be ready once they leave high school. So we try and provide, and these types of opportunities are going to help us in keeping students from failing and hopefully keep them interested in being educated and going for more possibilities in their future.
I do have a question. What did you ask?
So there is some sort of accountability.
Yes. Yes.
See, there has to be accountability.
Yeah. And that's,
But I'm just curious, why did you ask that question, Mr. Miller? I'm
I
just
asked that
curious.
because there's a trend in the United States
Uh-huh.
in public education for a lot of students passing through based upon just a feeling good diploma.
Yeah.
And they can't make it in society.
Yeah.
There's a study recent, and I can't give you the details, but it was in the Richmond Times-Dispatch just within a couple of weeks ago, talking about it was a high percentage of students
Yeah.
graduating from high school, and they've been kind of, feel good. How do you feel? And okay, you took this over here. I know you didn't pass any of these tests, but hey, here's your diploma.
Yeah.
They were afraid not to give them the degree, the high school diploma, because they might restrict them from
Yeah.
going beyond that and getting.
Well, it does fall back to, sir, on accreditation. In order for a school to become accredited, they have to have, there's certain milestones you have to meet. And so that's a large part of why, we bend over backwards to try to help these kids, because if your graduation rate drops, then you're in danger of losing your accreditation. That puts you on a warning status, and then, you're under a microscope, and it becomes a bigger, I don't know, I
think what he's driving at, it just sounds like you're dumbing down.
See, I don't view it that way at all, because not even remotely, sir. And I'm sorry that maybe that's what you're taking from it. So maybe we didn't articulate that well enough. I feel the students they're pushed to test, pass the test, pass the test. And our previous superintendent, Dr. Holleran, one time because I kind of got into a conversation with him about these SOL tests, standard of learning, and I asked him, I said, I don't understand, it just confuses me. And so he explained to me the foundation of this, and it makes sense when it started. That, and this is what I recall him telling me, is that the SOL tests originally were set up to ensure that all the students, if you took like a Civil War history, 1, then, or Civil War history, I threw that out there. I don't even know if that's even a course. Is that even a course?
Parts of course.
But, and you get a teacher in Suffolk who's really, really passionate about Virginia, then they would focus all their instruction on the Virginia aspect of the Civil War. And if that student moves and goes to Roanoke, then there's a disconnect in the curriculum. And so they set up this SOL test to ensure that all the students were learning a base knowledge in any given class. But as the years progressed, and everybody was passing the SOL, the legislators were like, oh, well, if you can do that, well, can you do this? And they just kept piling it on, and it just kept getting bigger, and bigger and bigger, to where that became the primary focus. And like she said, as teachers in the classroom, we've gotten away from the project-based learning. If you go look at this, it's more about teaching to the test. That's what it basically is. If you look at this, we've lost this. We've got students who are graduating from the school who are great test takers, but they can't take the information and apply it. And that's the component we're trying to fix.
And we have students that have hardships taking tests that aren't graduating because they can't pass one test. Recently we've had a couple students that it's been down to the wire, causing a lot of stress on. They've passed the class, they've done the work, they've been through the program, but
They have
because they
these.
can't pass that one
On
test,
those kids,
they
I
can't
believe
graduate.
What they need is a verbal test, because some of them will choke.
Yeah,
They
there's a
choke at
lot of
writing
different
the test.
factors.
Their
There's a lot of
minds go
factors, yes, sir.
blank.
Yeah, there's a lot of
But,
factors that can go into
if
testing.
the teacher can take the time to sit down with them and start talking to him and bringing out what he knows, he can do it verbally.
So I guess to what you were saying, sir, we're still capturing that academic component of it. We're not losing that. We just want to see more of this. We want to be able to see that
Yeah.
project-based learning, and that's where we kind of see everything going.
A lot depends on the emphasis on which syllable. So, you understand what I'm saying? But,
Me oh my. I didn't know I had to take a translator.
It's extremely important. If a kid shows up to get hired and he can't speak intelligibly,
Or they text.
he's not going to get hired. If a kid shows up and walks into my house, had one yesterday, walks into my house to install X, Y, or Z, and this particular one happened to be installing a phone system, and he can't communicate with me as to where I want it, no, he's gotta know how to speak.
Yeah,
that's why
that's
these-
one of
He's
these.
gotta know
That's,
the definition of it.
yes,
And that's
sir.
why these
You know,
experiences
it's
are good,
really-
because,
That's more important than, hi, how are you? My name is, I
Yeah.
can talk.
Mr. Lampert.
I've had more than one.
Chairman, I think Dick is speaking for a lot of us, and I mentioned this to you last week. I gotta say this quickly because we're out of time, but,
Oh, gracious.
3 weeks ago, I asked the group to do an exercise, and we came up with we asked, what are you really good at, you know, in this group?
Okay.
You know, what can you do to, be servants above others, you know, service above self? And I captured that list on 3x5 cards, and I've given that to our president. But we have an incredible amount of talent in this room. The problem is, for what you want to do, most of us have either sold our businesses or we are totally retired. You know, I still have my finger, you know, dabbing and things, but almost all of us are retired. Not everybody. We still have to have Jay.
Where's Garnet?
Jay still has to work because he's trying to, you know, create wealth for us. So, you know,
So you can stay retired.
yeah, sorry, so we can do that. But my point is, and Dick hit it right on the head, and I mentioned this last week, for example, negotiation skills, speaking skills.
Yes.
I mean, these are things that I have done all over the world. I'll do it for the high school kids. I mean, I don't wanna be paid, I'll help them, and we got other people in here who are better than I am. But they need those kind of life skills, and I think we can do that, but I don't know if we have a mechanism in the school to match up. And I think that's what we're missing. Cause I've come over there this afternoon and do a 2-hour, you know, presentation skills class.
Yeah,
I don't need notes, I don't need a projector.
And that may be where
No, I don't.
organizations
No,
like
I
ours,
don't.
Talk today without a projector.
where our organization may be able to play a role maybe from a mentorship point of view. And I think
Creating
it's,
connection.
I think it's tempering the academic piece of it with the soft skills, because you're both right. There's gotta be an academic, accountability, but these kids I work with kids every day, and they are severely lacking in the soft skills because you guys are stressed every day to teach to the test. We've gotta pass this test, and unfortunately, the creativity side and the strengths of these kids may get lost to the cracks. So
Aren't they throwing the SOLs out?
No.
not completely, no. They're
scaling
starting
back.
to scale
Jack
back
could
a
solve
little
it
bit.
all just by taking a
I
phone.
do have, I know we're running out of time, but I do have one question, okay? Is there a community service component tied into this?
Okay, yes, sir. If
Because
you,
we can probably, we're sitting around the room
See-
here, and I know everybody belongs to 5 or 6 different organizations.
see the profile of the new graduate.
Considering our elderly age here, that we could probably use some young.
Down,
No
down
disrespect.
here at the bottom, it talks about where she started, this is beautiful, because we started with the 5 Cs, and we're ending with the 5 Cs. Citizenship. That is a component, and if you look on here, it tells you that the graduating, I know I gave you a lot to information, just like speed reading. For the first time, 9th graders in the fall of 2018, 2019, these are the changes that are coming down. And one of them is they have to have a community service component to their graduation through their requirements. So Interact, I've spoken with administration and I've spoken with Katelynn. That's one of the options that students can take, is that Interact part. I don't know we've also got the New Gen Peace Builders thing. I mean, there's other opportunities that they can do, but yes, sir, that's one fit that y'all could do for us. Or for the students, sorry, I
Hey,
apologize.
Jack, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know we are getting ready to run out of time here. Would you guys mind staying around answering any more questions? for
Sure,
folks?
yes, sir.
Some of us still work. We're
Yes,
not all-
ma'am.
We're not all retired like
Completely
Rob.
respect that.
So thank you, lady. That was a great
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you. Everybody would stand and join me in the full-weight test before we head out the door. The things we think say or do first.
This is the truth.
Second.
Fair to all concerned.
Third.
Will build better everything.
And fourth.
Will beneficial to all concerned.
Everybody have a great day today.
What is,
That's the part where Interact.
is that in the board meeting?
Yeah, we're gonna use that.
And you have it same place?
We're gonna do it in South. 5:30 drinks, 6 o'clock meeting.